Welcome to the START podcast, Somatic Tools for Alignment, Regulation, and Transformation. I'm your host, Jessa Hooley. This episode is recorded as part of START, a free somatic healing program for people with painful childhoods. Join START to get access to this podcast along with exclusive monthly on-demand classes led by me, a somatic trauma specialist. If you're ready to create a life of calm, confidence, and belonging, join START by visiting alwaysvibin.com or search Vibin Wellness in your Apple or Google Play App Store. That's always VIBIN.com. Hello and welcome back. It is episode 3 in February. This month, we are working with the theme, Using Pleasure as Medicine. If you are new here, every month we pick a new healing theme and we really dive deep in the podcast. With this being the 3rd episode, that means you've got 2 other episodes that I would highly encourage that you listen to first. The first one, we're talking about the nervous system and why pleasure is even playing a part in nervous system healing. In the 2nd episode, I went over why pleasure could be challenging for you to access and some tools for playing with that experience. And today we will be discussing, finally, how you know when you are interacting with pleasure versus positive stimulation. And these are 2 completely different experiences. I'm going to lay it out why that is and why it's important to be engaging in pleasure that is deep and healing versus impulsive and short-lived. Before we get into the episode, I would invite you to take a nice, deep breath that feels nourishing for you. And a reminder, with this being a trauma-oriented podcast, there will be subjects that come up that are very likely to bring up sensations in your body. And if any of those sensations feel unwelcome, overwhelming, too much, or you're just not interested, take a step back, pause the podcast, and re-engage with the episode when you feel safe to do so. We learn so much better when our nervous system and our bodies feel like they are in safety. I introduced the 2 terms we're going to be playing with today. First is pleasure. That's the healing practice we're interacting with. If you are part of the START program, you will have seen the 2 free classes that are part of this month's program. If you're not, please just go join. The link is in the description. It is completely free. It is for you. And in both classes, we are interacting with pleasure in our bodies throughout the practices. When we're talking about pleasure as a healing practice, it is an embodied experience. This has been brought up in episodes 1 and 2. Pleasure is received through sensations in our bodies. It is deep. It is nuanced. You can feel pleasure on multiple levels as you experience it. Versus positive stimulation. Now, I like positive stimulation better than quote unquote fake pleasure or surface pleasure because I really want to give pleasure its due. Let it be its own thing. Positive stimulation are things that feel impulsive. They're short-lived. They're those dopamine or adrenaline hits or numbing sensations. These are the things that we do to feel better in this moment, but they don't really register in our nervous system as something that's healing. So what is the difference? Let's talk about pleasure first. Like I said, it is embodied. So why don't you pause for a moment and see if you can think about a time where you felt pleasure. Something that you could sense on multiple levels of experience. So you can visualize this thing, this place, this person, this activity. You can have some sort of a sensory experience with it. Do you feel like a quality of color? Was there a smell or a song playing? Maybe a texture? And what happens in your body as you interact with this thought, this memory, or this dream of something that you want? When we are with pleasure, it is more than a thought, it is a sensation. Common sensations for pleasure can be either on the break side, the calming side of our nervous system, that's the parasympathetic side. So this can be like sensations that feel warm, grounding, pleasurably heavy, like a weighted blanket or that deep pressure touch. It can feel slow or awe. It can just feel steady. It can feel soft. See how all these words resonate with a certain part of your nervous system. It's that slow energy that's also present. Sensations for pleasure can also be energizing, mobilizing. Pleasure can feel light, bubbly, excited. It can feel like a flush in your cheeks as you smile, a pounding in your heart as you laugh. It can feel like movement that's bouncy and sporadic in your body. It can feel like flowing. Imagine dancing. It can be a gasp. It can feel a lot of different ways. But in all of these scenarios, it is directly a feeling that has depth to it. You feel it in more than one place, and you feel it deeply in your body. It doesn't feel like a surface level experience. And particularly, it doesn't feel, and if you're listening, I have my hands up by my head, it doesn't feel like it lives up here in your brain space. A lot of times when we talk about the positive stimulation, those experiences are up in your brain. It feels very fleeting. It feels just outside of the body. Pleasure is something that resonates deeply. You feel like you're soaking it in like a sponge, whether that's a big feeling that's very energizing and mobilizing, or something that's very calming and slow and steady. So there is consistent connection and presence when we are in pleasure. Positive stimulation is different because it doesn't have the depth, it doesn't have the nuance, it doesn't have the stay power. It's a in the wind. Big charge, disappear. This can equally be experienced on both ends of the spectrum when we're talking about the break, the parasympathetic break, or the energizing, mobilizing energy. Let's talk about both. When we're talking about positive stimulation, now when I talk about these, the break, the ones that are more dissociative, I'm still going to use positive in the way that it's bringing in stimulation to help you cope with something. So these are things you reach for when you don't want to feel something, whether that's boredom, whether that's quiet, whether that's angst, whether that's grief, anything. So when we're talking about the break side of your nervous system, these positive stimulation practices, I'll put that in air quotes, would be things like doom scrolling on your phone. 3 hours has gone by. You don't really remember much of anything. We've all been there these days. Maybe it's completely dissociating and spacing out in your bed. You go lay down, it's your horizontal time. You're daydreaming. Someone comes in, you just sink into the bed. Another popular one is binge watching Netflix or Prime or whatever thing you're subscribed to. You've watched 2 whole seasons in one day, and the whole time you keep bouncing between your phone and the TV anyway. You're not even present with what you're doing. Time's gone, you haven't felt anything, maybe you haven't even eaten the whole time, or you've been eating the whole time beyond your cues of hunger. Either way, you are not here. And that takes us into another example, which is food related. Now, food can have some high energy charge, but I'm talking about this mindless, numbing eating. This mindless, numbing binge eating where you're just snacking and snacking and snacking in this fog. And you're so disembodied with this experience of eating that you don't even realize how full your stomach is getting until you're sick. These are really common ones. If you relate to any of these, no shame, you're not alone, hon. This happens all the time because instinctually we're reaching for pleasure, but without practice, we don't know how. So instead, we're getting into these positive stimulation exercises. And the ones we just went over, those are on the break side, where you're slowing down, you're trying to disconnect from any sense of awareness of the body. Now let's move to the gas side of your nervous system, your sympathetic energy. This is your energizing, mobilizing part of your nervous system. Positive stimulation on this side can look like adrenaline seeking. Maybe you like to drive super fast, or you gamble, or you take risks in ways that just feel really impulsive and explosive. Another one is binge shopping, where you're just adding to cart, adding to cart. 3 days goes by, a package shows up on your front step, and you can't even remember what's in there. That's how impulsive this experience was, is you needed it in that time, and now there was no awareness while you were engaged in that activity. Another high energy positive stimulation is overworking yourself. You get a rush from being productive. This can go either in the office, where you're sitting down and you're working till 10 p.m. You're working 100 hours a week when you don't have to, and you're just grinding until you burn out. Or this could be at home. You turn into a tornado as you rage clean your house. That's me. Where it's, I just want to feel good. I'm going to do something. And once again, no shame. These are very natural things that most of us do. It's not about saying that these things are bad. It's about understanding them for what they are. They are ways for us to cope in the moment, and they do that in the moment. They are not healing. Doesn't mean they don't serve a purpose, but the purpose isn't healing. Pleasure is healing. Pleasure is intentional, connected, and present. So let's do a couple more comparisons to really drive this home. And we're going to use the same activity, with it being pleasure and with it being positive stimulation. First one, let's do shopping. We're all there. We've all been there. Shopping in pleasure, shopping in positive stimulation. Positive stimulation shopping, as we discussed, is a blast. Oh my God, I need that now. Add to cart, check out. I didn't even check to see if there was money in the account. Boom, it shows up. What just happened? I impulsively bought $300 worth of stuff on Amazon. Oopsie daisy, I actually don't need it. That is positive stimulation shopping. How would you practice shopping in pleasure? What do you think? Why don't you pause for just a second and imagine yourself shopping for something in a way that's pleasurable. Now remember, what makes pleasure healing is that it is connected and it is embodied. So let's say an Instagram ad pops up for this beautiful, I don't know, sweater. You have a bunch of sweaters. You don't need it. But you want to make this a pleasure practice. What is pleasurable about this experience? How could we make this Instagram pop-up a pleasurable experience? First, my suggestion would be to take some space. Oh, I really want that sweater. Okay, close the ad. Maybe you open up the tab on your browser, but where would you go first to feel connected to your present embodied sensations within the experience of shopping for a sweater? I would say maybe go to your closet and look at your sweaters. Start there, because in this imaginary scenario, you know you have sweaters. So let's go interact with our sweaters. See how we feel by looking at sweaters. Take your time. Look at your favorite sweaters. Feel the sweaters. Maybe if you want to, you can even try on a couple of sweaters. See how this is different? Now you're like, Jessa, we haven't even done the shopping. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, this is part of the connection. So then you've been hanging out with your sweaters. Maybe you've put a couple on. Now you really know which ones you like. Oh, yeah, I love the fit of this one. I love how this one is a little cropped and the sleeves are loose. Ah, and this other one, I really never reach for it because it's too tight on my arms. Now we go back and we go shopping. We open up that Instagram ad. We open up the tab and we look at the sweater. And we are present with what we're actually seeing on the screen. And you're looking at the sweater on the screen and you're like, how about that? That sweater actually fits exactly like the one I love so much. It's got the loose sleeves, it's got the right cut. No wonder I loved that sweater so much. But wait a second, I have like 4 in that color. There's a reason I'm always leaning towards brown. I look so good in it. But wow, I just realized like, yeah, I do love wearing brown. I have so many brown sweaters. How funny is that, that I love this sweater so much because it's just so me. This feels good. You're connecting with the sense of awareness of who you are, what you like, your preferences. You're being tender with yourself. You're being compassionate. You're being curious. All these things are coming in. Now, at this point, I would say it's safe to say that you can make a very informed, happy, pleasurable decision whether you decide to buy the sweater or not. This is not about saying you never buy the sweater. Maybe you do. Maybe you decide you need 5 brown sweaters instead of 4. That's not the point. The point is that you have been in your body the whole time. You gave yourself time to connect with the experience of buying a sweater. Why did I want to have this sweater in the first place? Yeah, I love how comfortable these feel. I love how cozy they feel. I love the texture. I always just feel so relaxed when I'm wearing these sweaters. Do you feel the difference? It takes more time. Yeah. Like, God, really? I have to do that for every purchase? No. But when you're practicing pleasure, because remember, we're using pleasure as a practice, using pleasure as healing. And healing practices are intentional, they require time. This is how you make mundane, everyday things pleasurable healing practices. Let's do eating. We all eat. And if there's one thing I know, I know that many childhood trauma survivors, particularly those in female bodies, have a really challenging relationship with food. The activity is eating. In the first scenario, the positive stimulation, eating is either one of two things. It's in a fog or it's explosive. Those are kind of the two ends of the spectrum, just to keep things very simple. So you're either on the couch watching TV with an entire bag of chips and you're eating them mindlessly until you have a stomachache. That's the foggy eating. On the other side, we have the really ravenous, impulsive, explosive eating. This could look like, oh my God, these powdered donuts are amazing. I need another one. I need another one. P.S. I can use this example because this is what happened to me about a week ago. I need more of these donuts because they taste so damn good. And by the time you get to your whatever 4th donut, you're sick of the taste. Now it actually kind of repulses you. You never want to see a powdered donut again. Both scenarios, we have participated in eating in a disembodied way. It hasn't been pleasurable. It might have been sensational in the one example with the donuts, or it might have been numbing, but either way, it was short-lived, disembodied, and we couldn't connect with the experience until we were all the way on the other end, where we're either disgusted with the food because we ate too much, or we're disgusted with ourselves because we feel really unwell. What if we were to make eating, let's just pick the donuts, eating the donuts, a pleasure practice? How could we really enjoy this donut in a way that's healing? So let's take it back. Pleasure is connected and it is present. So let's say I've got a box of donuts, powdered donuts on my counter. How would I really make this a pleasure practice that is healing? First, let's do what we did in the last one. Let's give ourselves a little space. We're looking at the donuts. Ooh, those donuts look so good. And we become embodied. We become curious of, even me talking to you about this, I feel my glands salivating in my mouth. Ah, they smell so good. I feel myself drooling. Maybe you turn to the person that's with you or your pet, or you just say to yourself, oh man, those smell so good. Those look delicious. I can imagine that in my mouth. Expressing what we can feel can help us really connect with what we feel. And then we decide to take a donut. That's actually part of this process of pleasure. We intentionally decide to take a donut. Maybe in the beginning, you practice saying this out loud. That might be uncomfortable for you. If it is, you don't have to, but that's an option. You can say, I'm going to have a donut. I'm going to have a donut. You can say it with whatever tone or inflection feels best for you. And then you grab a donut and you have chosen intentionally. You didn't mindlessly sneak a donut. You didn't try to hurry and grab one and shove it in your mouth before anybody can see. You are taking a moment to be present with the experience of choosing to eat this donut. And you grab it. And then you sit down. You sit down before you eat the damn donut, okay? Because how can we be present if we hurry up and shove it in our mouth before we do the next thing? Remember, this is a healing practice. Pleasure as healing in a practice. So we pause. We take the donut somewhere where we can be comfortable eating it. Now, if standing is that for you, then of course you can stay standing. But we are letting our bodies be in a safe, comfortable place so that we are more able to register the sensation of pleasure as we eat it. If you are hiding in your pantry, trying to hurry before someone sees you eating this donut, or if you're eating it as you run to your next meeting, you don't have the opportunity to feel the sensation of eating the donut. And remember, it's an embodied experience. So, and for it to be embodied, we have to be able to connect with the sensations. So we get our bodies in a place where we are able to connect with the sensation. And then we eat the donut. We eat it in a way where we give ourselves time to actually taste it. You don't need to make this a whole thing. Yes, you can do an eating meditation and give yourself a whole fucking hour to eat this donut if you want to, but you don't have to. For it to be pleasure, it's just embodied. Really enjoy the bites. Notice why you enjoy the bites. It tastes sweet. Oh, I love the texture. It's so funny to feel all the powdered sugar on my lips. Take your time to really notice the sensations of eating this donut. That's a pleasure practice. And you can apply this to really anything. That crazy drive you went on where you're just feeling the adrenaline, maybe you decide to go somewhere scenic and you decide to take note in your audio journal about what you were seeing and how it felt to see that thing. What memories came up for you while you were there? Maybe instead of doom scrolling, you decide to find your favorite creator on YouTube. This can be a humorous person that makes shorts, and you decide to just commit a certain amount of time to their videos, and you comment on each of them. You notice how each of their silly, stupid shorts made you feel, and you leave a comment saying, oh, this made me feel this. That's a pleasure practice while looking at your phone. Pleasure is available to you in endless ways. Now you can start to play with differentiating between positive stimulation and pleasure, and also letting it really land for you that it's not necessarily about the activity. Certainly, there are some activities that are quite outside the window of pleasure. However, most of the things we reach for when our nervous system is asking for pleasure can actually be done in a way that is healing and is pleasurable when we take the time to bring ourselves into connection with that activity, when we can sense into our sensations, slow things down, and make it intentional. Thanks for listening. To get the most from this podcast episode, visit alwaysvibin.com to join the free START program, or search Vibin Wellness in your Apple or Google Play App Store. The information in this episode is not intended to diagnose or treat any condition. Please contact your mental health practitioner or a medical doctor for advice specific to your needs.